another episode of Ian's Weirdo. So today I'm working on Mel's top for Pride. I've done a lot of thinking, consulting some other crochet folks, and I'm trying to kind of put together a bunch of different ideas to make this purchase of a pattern that I bought work. Because in practicality, it's pretty much like a -5 out of 10. So I'll show you what the cups look like. This is the one I haven't sewn into yet. So this is the cup itself. So if you're unaware how bras and things work for people who are larger chested or people who have any chest at all. So basically there has to be some kind of pull and stop at the bottom. Otherwise, the minute this thing goes up, it's not holding anything in. So moving your neck, moving your shoulders, all of that will cause slippage. And we're not about that life, at least not the person who this is intended for, which is Mel. So, so I have a couple different ideas of how I'm going to play this, and we're going to see how they work. My first move is to, I'm making a band that's going to go underneath, and I'm doing this in the back loop only because I still want to be able to have that beautiful fringe that drew me to this top in the first place. And so that was goal one. I created a back and a little spot to slip in some boning. I was going to make a corset once, like 10 years ago, and never made it. So I have all this boning. This is plastic boning. It's very flexible, but it will keep that, when I do the ribbing in the back, it will keep it nice and sturdy so it's not pulling disproportionately on any part of the band. So that's important. Not absolutely necessary, but a feature that I thought would be really nice because I just don't really like lacing that doesn't have boning that's supposed to provide a lot of structure and support. With these things, we have to think a little bit more heavily, especially given the size of these cups. So once I'm done, I'm going to insert a small piece of boning, and then the lacing is actually going to go behind that boning piece into the first stitch right after the boning. I went into a double crochet afterwards because I thought that would be a good move, and I'm doing that throughout. Now, something I've noticed I am using Premier Minikins cotton, and I bought this initially because, again, I don't know how many times I have to say it, I don't read specs. I'm terrible at reading specs on yarn. I always miss something. I just I want to blame my ADHD for it because it's almost like there's just a black hole on my screen or whatever I'm ordering from or wherever I am, where I just don't see details, and I could look all day for them and they would be right in front of my face and I would not see them. So I bought this hoping that it would be an appropriate cotton for 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 this for my packers, but it is a 2/8 and not a 4/8, which is what I use for my packers. So I have not been able to use it. Also, this is not the most cost-effective cotton, especially because I need to get it shipped, and shipping tends to be very high. Premier tends to not have a lot of sales, especially that include shipping. So I've kind of had it. I got a couple other colors, I believe. Oh my gosh, it must fell right out of my chair on camera. That would have been embarrassing. I would have just deleted the video right there. But this is what the yarn looks like. I don't know where the tag went. It's somewhere, but just not right here. So it comes in this little ball. I believe the whole ball is about 180 yards. So I'm just keeping it in the container that the cups that I have are in. Like I said, I used to sew a lot more, and so I had a lot more ambition, so I got random sewing items, and so this is molded foam bra cups. I got as close to the size that we need as I possibly can, so these are the molded bra cups. They are foam, and I'm going to hand sew them in because originally I was going to use a piece of cotton fabric, cut it to shape, sew it on the back using my sewing machine because hand sewing just really is not my jam. I can't express that enough. It's not really what I'm great at. However, because of the shape of this and how I need it to mold to everything, I just don't feel like, and also the fact that it's kind of in the middle, you can see it. I don't know why I couldn't just show you the back. I couldn't use the same color thread all the way around. If I had sewn that, I could have just used red thread all the way around. But because it's kind of crossing into other sections, I'm like, what thread color did I use? Why is that the most difficult thing plaguing me? I don't know. I might be able to have some attachment points with yarn, but I haven't thought that far ahead. But I might be able to poke a hole with something sharp like an awl. I don't have like an official awl, but I've got pokey things that I could just make a hole in the cup with, but haven't thought that far ahead. So I've got these, and they'll also be good at sweat absorbency because when you wear something that's made out of pure acrylic, you are going to sweat your ass off. So I wanted to have some kind of protection to keep sweat from forming and dripping down the entire body. So so I picked a color that's close to Mel's skin tone, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to top stitch um, the colors of the rainbow across the entire band, including under the cups, even though they'll be covered in fringe, just because one, it'll be easier, but two, as I've been working on this, you can see that this band is a different size than this. The way that the attachment and everything is coming through, it has just really stretched out and done something kind of weird and unexpected for me. So like this band looks pretty good, pretty solid, and then this is all like ruffly, and maybe I'm doing them too close together. I don't know. It's just not really working for me. But if I do that top stitch, I can tighten everything up, hopefully, and get that going again. Now, if that doesn't work, I'm going to take some elastic and sew in some kind of like belt loops, basically. It's going to be elastic that's soft enough to go against the skin, and then that will hold everything, and I'll sew those in, and that will give it that tightness that we need, so that it's nice and comfortable on, but it is holding on to Mel's body, because that is the most important thing, is that it stays on, right? Garments meant to stay on until they're not meant to stay on. So that's the least we can do for Mel. So I am continuing my journey. I'm just putting this in because I don't have any available yarn bowls. I really don't have any yarn bowls to begin with, but I'm just putting it in this container, and I'm using that as my yarn bowl. Be creative. Don't let your actual limitations stop your dreaming. Now, because this is a smaller yarn, I could have downsized my hook, but I decided not to because I was afraid that the spacing onto the cups would be off. Now I don't know if that was a good idea or not, but this is a trial and error process. and it might be because I'm doing the chain that the height is weird, but I've tried doing this like vertical ribbing before, and even though I didn't do the back loop only, so it's not really ribbing, but I've tried doing this attachment before, and if I didn't do the chain, it just ended up really wonky, so I did what I thought I needed to do, but I don't know if that was right or not. I'm just going on the couple years of knowledge that I built up, and that's pretty much it. And just hopes and prayers, or thoughts and prayers, whatever the phrase is. Why can't it be all three, right? Hopes, thoughts, prayers. I'm drinking a bubbly. This is the blackberry flavor. I used to shit on, not literally, but I used to take the piss out of anyone who drank sparkling water, especially like LaCroix or LaCroix or whatever they were called, because they really don't taste good. But trying different flavors, I've actually found some sparkling waters that I actually do like, and that's been cool because it's actually helped me almost completely cut out soda. The only soda that I have now is the very, like, I have a pretty rare ginger ale. Usually that's just kind of when my stomach's kind of like, or occasionally I get the hankering for a Dr. Pepper, but it's never that significant. So it's helped me quit soda. So, I mean, it's gonna be good for something. Now, I've also been thinking about how I want to do the straps. Now, again, I just don't feel like this pattern, I really just hate to be like just shitting on the pattern design and stuff like that. But to me, the whole design, the writing of the pattern was very lazy. It did not make any effort to make things easier, to explain things as what I would say like an intermediate-ish crocheter. I kind of knew how to do a lot of it already, so I couldn't imagine a beginner trying to read that pattern and make any sense of it. So I feel like, while I won't go out and say where I got this pattern from and stuff like that, if I try to sell it, I, will credit the writer of the pattern, even though I'll just say it was inspired by, because I'm making so many changes. This person does not deserve the credit for all the changes I'm having to make. But basically, what they did is they did a single chain, and the measurements were bonkers. They were insane. It was saying that for the top of the strap, for the top part, on each side, I should do, for this size, it was 55 inches of chain, which is a crazy, that's almost 5 feet. That's almost as tall as I am. And it was saying I needed that much to go from here to the middle of the back of my neck, and then be able to tie it. It's bizarre, right? And then it was saying just a chain from the edge, from the corner to the other corner, and that was going to be just enough for people. And maybe that's all you need in a bikini top, is that much. But if you're offering several sizes, you should understand that that's not going to work for most sizes. And I am just pretty disappointed. Luckily, I bought the pattern a long time ago. Otherwise, I probably could have put this together myself from the beginning and maybe designed it a little bit more different. Just different. So when I attach it to the cup, I'm going in the back loop only, because the front loop is going to have all the fringe and stuff. So I'm still going to have the fringe won't be disturbed greatly by the band underneath, and it should be relatively covered to show all that fringy goodness. I'm not super excited about having to put all that fringe on, but 'tis what it is. It's not really that much fringe. I've looked at like jackets. There's one jacket I really, really want to make. My thing's probably gonna go buck wild. Um, So sorry about that. Just take me to Etsy. Don't put me in my store. I just put Setsy. I don't know what's gonna pop up, but okay. So crochet fringe jacket. It is gorgeous, but it looks like it will be the temperature of about 1,000 suns. And I've thought of a ton of different ways to do this, and I can't think of any way to do it that would save my hands and my sanity. So I am just I don't know how to approach this, but this jacket pattern has been on my mind so much. And I've wanted it for over a year now because I was thinking about making it um, last year for Pride because I found this foil jacket and then I was looking up how much the foil fringe would cost and that was going to be like I just found enough a store on Etsy that has enough of the foil and just the foil before sewing it and everything if I wanted to make like a all like I guess Taylor Swift is doing a similar jacket now which makes me go it's still my idea. um, but but just the just the fringe was going to cost like over $300, and that is also a jacket. Like I've never made a jacket before. I'm not great at sewing. I don't really know what I'm doing. So all of these things made me go, yeah, I don't know. But this pattern is only $3.50. But if you see, so I was like, maybe if I make it in cotton, it'll be less hot than acrylic. But still, it's so much fringe that it would literally take weeks if I worked on it all the time to attach all that fringe, make sure it looked right. You know, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Nothing's worth that. I think this jacket is sold on the same Etsy shop and I believe that the person whose shop it is charges about $250 for it, which checks out. Honestly, checks out because that is a lot of time. You know, maybe it's not the most complicated crochet project, but it is a complicated project without a doubt. So I mean, it's a cool looking jacket. And like during the winter time, baby, you better believe that I would be up everywhere in a jacket like this or in a jacket with a different yarn. It's cool, but it's a lot. So instead, so the jacket that inspired all of this was like $60 or $70, and um, you know, so maybe we'll do that for Mel. Maybe we won't. I'm not really sure. Mel's always like, I'll wear a t-shirt to Pride. I don't care. And I'm like, no wife of mine is wearing a t-shirt to Pride. Not when I can use you as a free advertisement for my crochet business. Also, I just like making Pride crochet stuff. So, I mean, if I'm going to make it anyways, why not adorn my beautiful wife with it and use her as a walking billboard? Literally last year, so I had my crochet cardigan and my crochet booty shorts, but her top, which I didn't make right, I did fuck up. So I had to make some adjustments very last minute, like literally the night before, like 3 a.m. the night before. I'm like, because my counts just would not come out right. I was probably very sleep deprived, and that's why it didn't. But I mean, it definitely was sleep deprived, so, but I don't know if that's why my counts weren't coming out right. But basically, I just ended up like cinching up the sides and trying to make it work. Also, it looked terrible on me, looked amazing on her. You know, just how it is sometimes. Um, and so um, she ended up wearing it, and she like she helped me pass out a lot of business cards, which was pretty cool. I didn't get anyone who was interested, but the thing about Pride is you're getting business cards from everybody all the time. So, like all the vendors and everything. So I understand, but at least I shot my shot, and so this is another effort to shoot my shot, and um, I definitely think that a more this is a pattern that's definitely a lot more universally friendly. Also, I didn't have any of the items that we were wearing as listings, so it had my Etsy on there, but I didn't have any of my listings for things that I was wearing. So, you know, that's that is what it is. Um, so I will learn my lesson, and I will make sure to post some of these before I go to Pride, so that if people are interested, they could just order them right there at Pride. Super easy. Probably not what anyone would do because they want to have the money to buy stuff at Pride when they can. But you know what? It's all about the effort, and the effort is what I'm putting into it. So, why is this room always just blazing hot? I would like to get my doll pattern tested and finished by Pride. However, that's so unlikely because it is like whoever gets it is going to have to order the yarn. They likely will not have it on them. And, unless they just have every color of one white yarn, and they also happen to have the hair color, which is not everybody has. Um, but yeah, it's just not a yarn that's readily available, being one way. So a lot of people would have to order it. So I'm not really sure what timeline I'll give testers to do it on. So it's gonna take a really long time to write it up in Ravelry. Like the PDF posted to Etsy, easy peasy, but I don't want to have it not tested, so I probably need to type it up in Ravelry. You know what? Whenever I'm not doing anything, I should just, you know, start typing it up so that I can not have to do it all at once. Because when you try to do it all at once, that's when a lot of mistakes happen. So, what is everybody watching, playing, doing lately? I feel like I don't really know what's hip and what's cool with the kids these days because I spent a little time in the loony bin, and now I'm like, what is this world that we're in? But Mel and I are watching Fallout. I Mel has not played it, and I really haven't played it. I played about 5 minutes of New Vegas before I was like, I'm gonna hurl because that point of view, like certain camera points of view, just make me really motion sick. I've always been that way, and it's that third person, um, or like whatever the point of view in New Vegas just made me want to hurl. So I was like, okay, well, this sucks because I heard this game is actually really awesome, but I can't play it, so boo hiss. Um, but yeah, so I am sad that I did not get to play it, but the show, I'm really having a good time. I think we're on episode 4 or 5. It is, heads up, a little gruesome at times, but as far as I've seen from gameplay, I've watched my friends and folks play of Fallout. It seems very, very close to like the style and the vibe of Fallout. Fallout has such a specific um, vantage because it happens like what in the 50s with like um, nuclear fallout, i.e., the name. So you get this like really interesting contrast of technology as it's changed, but also there's this highly there's a lot of like the last of humanity, good America as it was from that era. So um, uh, it has this like you know it's like 50s, 60s music. I don't know what era it is. 70s. It's not 70s, but I don't know. And it's just really cool. It's a really fun show. It's gory, it's entertaining. You don't know what's happening next. It just is full of like twists and turns. It's so exciting. So I can't wait to see how they continue the season. We're not, just chugging through it. Because it's one of those shows that you really want to savor because as soon as you like if you just blasted through it you'd miss a lot of details, so we're really trying to gather as many details as we can, but we're definitely going to watch it again unless they just really screw up the end. But I haven't heard anyone say a bad thing about the show, so it's very fun. The acting is great. um, the visuals are stunning, makeup stunning. It just, I mean, it really gives you a it really is interesting um, to watch. So if you are interested in watching it, I would say go ahead, take the leap. It is highly, highly, highly worth it. Sorry, my cat is begging to be let out, and then in 5 minutes I'll be begging to be let back in. Now, I normally do not ask things like this, but if you could keep my puppy, Riker, he's not really a puppy anymore, but he'll always be a puppy. You know, if this is your thing, if you would like to keep Riker in mind, I would really appreciate it. He's having some leg problems, and we're not really sure what's going on. It kind of came out of the blue. So we have a vet appointment tomorrow, and so we're hoping it's just like maybe like a small sprain or something, and it's not a big deal, and he is going to be just fine. But my anxiety has been wrecking me lately, and I am having such a hard time with not going to the worst possible place in my mind, because that's really what's going on, and I'm trying not to go there. So if you want to send Riker some good vibes, I'm sure it will. I know it will be appreciated by me, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind it either. You want to send him virtual head pats or even hugs. He loves hugs. He's a good boy. So we're just hoping that it's a as clean of a bill of health as it possibly can be, and it's not anything serious. Because the best puppy is a healthy puppy. I don't want to know why I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was some kind of fucking mystery. What I'm saying. Okay, sorry. I'm just really, really weird and also very anxious. You know it was weird. It's in my name, but it is what it is. I feel like I probably should have taken the chain off. I'm not convinced that that's actually the problem here. Yeah, I don't really think. If it was the problem, then I just don't see how it would be making the bottom looser than the top. It just doesn't make sense to me. Also, here's something I didn't think about happening when I started this. So I was thinking, okay, well, if I make a band and I do the corset top style on the back of it. Sorry, let me get to a good stopping point because I don't want to just end it there and have it come out. I have to re-figure out what I'm doing. So I said, okay, well, I'll do the band underneath, which I know this looks really ruffly and terrible, but I was like, okay, well, once I have the corset back to it, when I pull it, it will tighten up the whole band. This is not how things have shaken out. So what it does is it pulls on the top, it pulls to right here, so it stretches as pretty much only this, and then nothing else here stretches. So I need to get this stretching as well, and I think that the elastic will help. Also, I feel like bringing it all to the same size by doing the top stitching will help as well. So, and the top stitching, I want it anyways, just because I feel like just the band in the back, like just having a nude colored band, I just don't really love. So I want to do the striping on the sides anyways. And I adjusted my bandwidth to be enough for all of the colors of the rainbow to be accommodated on there. So, that is what it is. So I think that that'll help as well. So now that you know my ultimate plans for this top, once I get to the red, I am going to do a stitch kind of locking the two cups together because I really want to make sure that they stay together. I might even go back and forth for the next first 3 or so stitches just so that it's nice, and I don't know. I just want to make sure that it it's very secure, even though the band will be underneath. I just really, really like. I just want this thing to be as secure as possible because if it's not, then undoubtedly problems will happen if they can happen. So, um, I've had enough crochet pieces fall apart while I'm wearing them, and just clothes that I've made fall apart. That I learned the value in security in your clothing being tantamount to wearing something and having confidence in it. Because if you're afraid that you're going to have a wardrobe malfunction because you can't move properly or move freely, then you're not going to have a great time. You're just going to be focused on not going to jail for indecent exposure or something. So it's about having a good time, keeping what needs to be covered, and then we'll just go from there. And then the rest is just fashion. Look at that, darling. So yes, so this isn't a long live. Doesn't need to be one. I know it's the middle of the night. It's 2:21 in the morning. So I know on a Monday, or I guess it's technically Tuesday now. But I know not a lot of people are awake, and that's okay. I just wanted to get on here and say hello. So I hope you're having a good night, morning, evening, wherever you are, and I'll talk to you later.